My name is Anastasia Petrov. I'm 25. 3 weeks ago, at 9:47 in the morning on a Tuesday, my OBGYN froze with the ultrasound wand pressed against my stomach, stared at my blood work results for exactly 11 seconds, then looked at me and said 6 words that saved my life. Pack a bag. Leave him today. I was 12 weeks pregnant. Stephen had made me a mango smoothie that morning like he'd done every morning for the past month. He'd kissed my forehead, told me he loved me, watched me drink every drop. Dr. Carter's hands were shaking when she printed my blood panel. Mrs. Brown, I need you to listen very carefully. There are traces of misoprostol in your system. That's an abortion medication. Combined with these other compounds, someone is trying to make you lose this baby. She grabbed my wrist. Do you understand what I'm saying? Someone in your house is poisoning you. I laughed. Actually laughed. That's impossible. Stephen and I have been trying for this baby for 2 years. He cried when I showed him the positive test. Does he make your food? He makes me breakfast. Just smoothies. He says it's good for the baby. Dr. Carter stood up so fast her chair hit the wall. How long has he been making you smoothies? 4 weeks, since I told him I was pregnant. She walked to her computer, pulled up something, then turned the monitor toward me. This is your first ultrasound from 4 weeks ago. The baby measured perfectly. This is today's scan. She pointed to the screen. Your baby's growth has slowed significantly. Your hormone levels are dropping. These medications in your blood? They're designed to cause uterine contractions and cervical dilation. If you keep ingesting them, you will miscarry within days. The room tilted. No, Stephen wouldn't. We're married. He wants this baby. Does he? She pulled her chair close, her voice dropping. Mrs. Brown, in 23 years of practice, I have seen this twice before. Both times, the husband had another woman pregnant. Both times, he wanted to avoid child support for 2 children. Before I go on, if stories about standing up for yourself mean something to you, please hit like and subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now and what time is it there. I drove home in complete silence. No radio, no thoughts. Just the sound of my turn signal clicking and Dr. Carter's words looping. Leave him today. Leave him today. Leave him today. Stephen's car was in the driveway when I pulled up. He wasn't supposed to be home until 6. I sat in my car for 5 minutes, staring at our house. The house my father's $31,000 down payment had secured. The white 2-story with black shutters that Stephen had promised would be filled with our children's laughter. I walked in through the garage. Stephen was in the kitchen, his phone pressed to his ear, his back to me. I know, Mom, I know. His voice was low, annoyed. She drank it this morning, the whole thing. It's working. Dr. Patel said her levels are dropping. I froze in the doorway. No, she doesn't suspect anything. She thinks it's normal pregnancy symptoms. He laughed. A sound I'd heard 1,000 times. Another week, maybe 2. Then we'll have the miscarriage. I'll comfort her. Wait 3 months. File for divorce. She won't get a dime of child support because there won't be a child. My keys slipped from my hand and hit the tile floor. Stephen spun around. His face went white, then red, then something I'd never seen before. Blank. Completely blank. I have to go, he said into the phone. He ended the call, slid the phone into his pocket, smiled at me. Hey, babe, I didn't hear you come in. Who are you talking to? Just Mom. She wanted to know if we're coming to dinner on Sunday. What did you put in my smoothie, Stephen? What? Anastasia, what are you talking about? I went to the doctor today. They did blood work. There are medications in my system, medications that cause miscarriage. My voice was shaking, but I kept going. What did you put in my smoothie? He stared at me for 3 full seconds. Then he laughed. That same laugh. Babe, that's crazy. You must have misunderstood the doctor. Pregnancy hormones can make you... Don't. I held up my hand. Don't you dare say I'm confused. I heard you on the phone. You said she drank it this morning. You said another week or two. You said I won't get child support because there won't be a child. Stephen's jaw tightened. You're being hysterical. I'm being poisoned. That's insane. Why would I hurt our baby? I want this baby. I've been taking care of you, making you healthy breakfasts, making sure you rest. You've been medicating me without my knowledge. That's not care. That's attempted murder. His face changed. The mask dropped. Okay, you want to do this? Fine. He crossed his arms. You really think you can prove anything? You think anyone's going to believe you over me? I'm the loving husband who takes care of his pregnant wife. You're the paranoid woman with pregnancy hormones making wild accusations. I have blood work. Blood work that shows what? That you have medications in your system? Medications you could have taken yourself. Medications you could be taking to frame me. He stepped closer. Think about it, Anastasia. Who's going to believe you? I will, I whispered. And that's enough. Let me take you back 6 years to the night before my father died. He was in his home office, the one that smelled like leather and coffee, and the peppermint candies he kept in a glass jar on his desk. I was 19, about to start my second year at community college. He called me in, asked me to sit down. Stasia, he said, using the nickname only he was allowed to use. I need to tell you something, and I need you to remember it forever. He slid a folder across the desk. Inside were documents I didn't understand. Property deeds, bank statements, investment portfolios. If anything happens to me, everything I have goes to you. Not your mother, not anyone else. You. I've worked with my attorney to make sure it's airtight. This house, my savings, my life insurance, all of it. You understand? Dad? Nothing's going to happen to you. I have stage 4 pancreatic cancer, sweetheart. Something's going to happen to me very soon. I remember the sound of my own breathing, how loud it became. I'm telling you this because I need you to protect yourself. When I'm gone, people are going to come out of nowhere claiming I owed them money, promised them things. They'll lie, they'll manipulate, they'll try to take what's yours. He took my hand. Promise me you'll be smart. Promise me you'll protect what I'm leaving you. I promise. Anastasia, trust your gut. If someone makes you feel small, if someone makes you question your own sanity, run. Don't walk. Run. He died 6 days later. Left me $85,000 in life insurance, $31,000 of which I used 3 years later for the down payment on the house Stephen and I bought together. The house Stephen's name was also on. The house I was now standing in, realizing my father had been preparing me for this exact moment. I left that afternoon while Stephen was in the shower, threw clothes in a duffel bag, grabbed my laptop, my father's folder of documents, and every piece of paper from our home office that had Stephen's name on it. I drove to a motel 6 miles away, paid cash for 3 nights, and sat on the scratchy comforter staring at my phone. Stephen called 47 times that first night, left 19 voicemails. The first one was panicked. Anastasia, where are you? I came out of the shower and you're gone. Please call me, I'm worried. The 10th one was angry. This is ridiculous. You can't just leave. We need to talk about this like adults. The 19th one was cold. Fine, run, but you're still my wife, and that's still my baby. You can't hide forever. I didn't answer. Instead, I called the one person I knew would tell me the truth. Stephen's younger sister, Rachel. We'd been close once before she'd moved to Portland for grad school. Anastasia? She sounded surprised. Is everything okay? Has Stephen been seeing someone? Silence. Long, terrible silence. Rachel, please. I don't know for sure, she said finally. But Mom's been weird lately. She keeps mentioning this woman named Barbara. Says she's good for the family. I asked Stephen about it last month and he told me to mind my business. What's Barbara's last name? Gray, I think? She works at the medical clinic where Mom's a receptionist. I hung up, opened my laptop, searched Barbara Gray Millbrook Family Medicine. There she was, dental hygienist, 28 years old, blonde, smiling in her staff photo. I clicked on her Facebook profile. It was public. The most recent photo was from 2 weeks ago, a picture of an ultrasound with the caption, "Coming this December, December," the same month I was due. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely type. I scrolled through her photos. Stephen wasn't in any of them. But in one photo from 3 months ago, she was wearing a necklace I recognized. A small silver compass. Stephen had said he'd lost it at the gym. I took screenshots of everything. The ultrasound, the necklace, her smile. Then I called Dr. Carter's office. Left a voicemail. "This is Anastasia Brown. I need copies of all my blood work and ultrasounds, and I need the name of a lawyer." The next morning I went back to work. Not because I needed the money immediately, but because I needed normal. I needed to feel like I still existed as a person outside of this nightmare. I'm an inventory coordinator at Northeastern Freight Logistics, a regional furniture warehouse that supplies stores across 6 states. My job is to track every piece of furniture from the moment it enters our facility until it leaves on a truck. Every chair, every table, every bookshelf. I notice when numbers don't match, when invoices don't add up, when something is missing that should be there. That's exactly how I'd notice the $14,600 missing from our joint savings account. I'd caught it 2 months ago while reconciling our statements for tax preparation. 12 withdrawals, $1,200 each, spread over 12 weeks, perfectly timed to avoid triggering bank fraud alerts. When I'd asked Stephen about it, he'd said it was for a surprise, an investment in our future. He'd kissed my cheek and told me not to worry. I'd believed him, because I'd wanted to believe him, because we were trying for a baby and I'd thought we were building something together. Now I knew exactly where that money had gone. To Barbara Gray. To the other baby. To the life Stephen was building while systematically destroying mine. My manager, Tom, noticed something was wrong the moment I walked in. "Anastasia, you okay?" "I'm fine." "You don't look fine. You look like you've seen a ghost." "I've seen worse than a ghost." I logged into my computer, pulled up our inventory tracking system. "Tom, I need to ask you something. If you needed to prove you were somewhere at a specific time, what kind of records would you pull?" He frowned. "Timestamps, badge swipes, security camera footage, signed delivery logs. Why?" "Just curious." But I was already thinking, already planning. Because I'd spent the entire night before reading articles about spousal poisoning cases, and every single one said the same thing: motive, means, and opportunity. The prosecution had to prove all three. Stephen had motive, Barbara's baby. He had means, access to prescription medications through his mother, who worked at a medical clinic. But opportunity? That's where I could fight back. If I could prove I wasn't crazy, if I could prove he'd been planning this, if I could document every lie, every manipulation, every moment he'd tried to make me believe I was imagining things. I spent my lunch break in my car, making a list. Evidence I have: blood work showing medication in my system, ultrasound showing slowed fetal growth, screenshots of Barbara Gray's pregnancy announcement, bank statements showing $14,600 in unexplained withdrawals, voicemails from Stephen, saved to cloud. Evidence I need. Proof Stephen obtained the medication. Proof Emily Carter was involved. Recording of Stephen admitting to poisoning security footage from our home witness testimony. My phone buzzed. Text from Emily Carter. "Anastasia, Stephen is beside himself with worry. Whatever you think happened, you're wrong. Come home. Let's talk about this as a family." I stared at that text for a long time. As a family. The same woman who'd coached her son on how much poison to use. The same woman who'd told him, "Don't use too much at once, it'll taste off." I screenshot the text, added it to my growing folder. That afternoon, I installed a hidden camera app on an old iPhone I'd kept in my glove compartment. Drove to our house while Stephen was at work. Let myself in through the garage. My hands were steady now. Clear. I positioned the phone on top of the kitchen cabinet, angled toward the counter where Stephen made my smoothies every morning. The camera lens was barely visible behind a decorative vase. Then I left. Locked the door behind me. Drove back to the motel. Stephen called that evening. I answered this time. Anastasia, thank God. Where are you? Somewhere safe. Safe? Safe from what? From me? Your husband? His voice cracked perfectly. I love you. I would never hurt you. Please come home so we can talk about this. Did you put medication in my smoothies? No, Anastasia, no. I swear on my life, on our baby's life. Don't. My voice was ice. Don't you dare swear on this baby's life when you've been trying to kill it. That's not true. Where is this coming from? I know about Barbara Gray, Stephen. Silence. Long, cold silence. I don't know what you're talking about. She's pregnant. December. Same as me. She's wearing your necklace in her Facebook photos. You withdrew $14,600 from our savings account to pay for her prenatal care, her apartment deposit, her baby furniture. More silence. Stephen, if you tell me the truth right now, we can figure this out. But if you keep lying, you're insane, he said quietly. You're actually insane. I'm not having an affair. I don't know any Barbara Gray. And I certainly haven't been poisoning you. You need help, Anastasia. Professional help. Dr. Carter has my blood work. The police can run tests on the smoothies. They can trace the medication. Go ahead, call the police. Report your loving husband for making you healthy breakfasts. See how that goes. He laughed. You know what they're going to say? They're going to say you're a paranoid pregnant woman having a mental breakdown. They're going to say you probably took those medications yourself for attention. I would never hurt my baby. Neither would I. But one of us has proof we're a good spouse, and one of us just ran away in the middle of the night making wild accusations. Guess which one the police will believe? He hung up. I sat in the dark motel room, hands pressed against my stomach, feeling my baby move for the first time. Just a flutter, a whisper of life. I'm going to protect you, I whispered back. Whatever it takes. The next morning, I went to the police station, asked to speak with a detective, brought my folder of evidence, blood work, bank statements, screenshots, voicemails. Detective Maria Gonzalez listened to everything, took notes, asked questions. Then she looked at me with tired eyes and said, Mrs. Brown, I believe something's happening to you. I do, but here's the problem. We can't arrest someone for making smoothies. We need concrete evidence that your husband obtained these medications illegally, that he administered them knowingly and with intent to harm. I have blood work showing that medications are in your system, not showing who put them there. Defense attorneys would argue you could have taken them yourself, or that someone else gave them to you, or that they were prescribed by a doctor and you forgot. But I didn't. I would never. I know. But we need proof. Video footage, a confession, a witness, something definitive. What if I get a confession? She looked at me carefully. If you record him admitting to poisoning you, that would be significant evidence. But Arizona is a one-party consent state for recordings, which means you can legally record conversations you're part of. However, she leaned forward, you need to be very careful. If he realizes you're recording, if he feels cornered, this could escalate. It's already escalated. He's trying to kill my baby. Then let's make sure we build a case that puts him away. Go home, have a conversation, get him to talk. But Anastasia? She handed me a card. If anything feels dangerous, you call me immediately. Do you understand? I understood. That night, I drove back to our house. Stephen's car was there, lights on. I could see him through the kitchen window, washing dishes like this was a normal Tuesday night. I sat in my car for 15 minutes, rehearsing what I'd say, how I'd act. Then I picked up my phone and hit record. I walked in through the front door this time. Loud. Obvious. Stephen came out of the kitchen immediately. Anastasia, you came home. We need to talk. Yes, God, yes, please. He reached for me. I stepped back, his hand dropped. Okay, okay, I understand. You need space. We sat at the dining room table, the same table where we'd opened wedding gifts 3 years ago, where we'd had birthday dinners and holiday meals and 1,000 normal moments. Stephen, I need you to be honest with me. I need to understand what's happening. Nothing's happening. You're stressed. Pregnancy is hard on your body, on your mind. Stop. Please stop treating me like I'm stupid. I put my hands on the table. I know about Barbara. I know she's pregnant. I know you've been giving me money from our savings account. What I don't understand is why. If you wanted to leave me, if you wanted to be with her, why not just ask for a divorce? His face did something complicated, multiple expressions fighting for control. Finally, he landed on resignation. You really want to know? Yes. Because divorce is expensive. Because you'd get half of everything. Because with a baby on the way, I'd be paying child support for 18 years. He leaned back in his chair. Do you know how much child support is for someone making $87,000 a year? About $1,400 a month. Times 2 kids? That's $2,800 a month. That's $604,800 over 18 years. My stomach dropped. Barbara's baby is mine. She's keeping it. That child support is non-negotiable. But your baby? He shrugged. If you miscarried, I'd be free. I could divorce you, claim emotional distress from the loss, probably walk away with more than half the assets, and I'd only have one child support payment instead of two. So you decided to poison me. I decided to make a difficult choice for our financial future. Our future? My voice broke. Stephen, there is no our future. You're killing our baby to save money. To save our family, he corrected. To give us a chance to start over eventually, when the time is right. You're insane. I'm practical. He stood up. And you can't prove anything. So either come back home, stop making accusations, and let's get through this miscarriage together, like a normal couple dealing with pregnancy loss. Or leave, file for divorce, and watch me take everything in court because you abandoned your marriage. I stared at him. This man I'd loved. This man I'd built a life with. This complete stranger. I'm leaving, I said quietly. Then you're an idiot. I drove back to the motel, transferred the recording from my phone to my laptop, then to a secure cloud storage, sent a copy to Detective Gonzalez, sent a copy to my personal email, sent a copy to Rachel. Then I sat on the bed and cried for 20 minutes straight. But I wasn't crying because I was broken. I was crying because I was relieved, because I had proof, because my father had been right all along. Trust your gut, and when someone makes you question your sanity, run. The next day, Detective Gonzalez called. We have enough for a search warrant. We're executing it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Don't go to the house. Don't contact your husband. Let us handle this. What about his mother, Emily Carter? We're looking into her involvement. The medical clinic where she works is cooperating. If she accessed medications without proper authorization, we'll know. And Barbara Gray? We've made contact. She's agreed to provide a statement in exchange for immunity. Apparently, she had no idea Stephen was married or that he was poisoning his wife. She thought you and Stephen were divorced and she was simply his new partner. Of course she did. Because Stephen was good at this. Good at lying. Good at making people believe whatever version of reality suited him best. The search warrant execution happened exactly as Detective Gonzalez described. They found bottles of misoprostol and Cytotec hidden in Stephen's gym bag in the garage. They found text messages between Stephen and Emily discussing dosages, timing, and symptoms to watch for. They found the $14,600 paper trail leading directly to Barbara's bank account. They arrested Stephen at his office at Northeastern Freight Logistics at 9:15 a.m. His coworkers watched. His boss watched. Everyone watched as Detective Gonzalez read him his rights and walked him out in handcuffs. They arrested Emily at her desk at Millbrook Family Medicine at 9:23 a.m. Her coworkers watched. Her patients watched. Dr. Patel, the physician who'd unknowingly had his DEA number used to obtain the medications, watched as Emily Carter was charged with conspiracy to commit assault, theft of controlled substances, and attempted feticide. I wasn't there for either arrest, but Detective Gonzalez sent me the body camera footage later. She thought I deserved to see it. Stephen didn't say anything during his arrest, just stared at the handcuffs like he couldn't comprehend how this had happened to him, how his practical financial decision had turned into felony charges. Emily screamed, said it was all a misunderstanding, said she was only trying to help her son, said I was a liar, a manipulator, a woman who'd trapped her precious boy with a fake pregnancy. The DA's office charged them both. Stephen, attempted feticide, assault, fraud. Emily, conspiracy, theft of controlled substances, practicing medicine without a license. Barbara Gray gave a 17-minute video deposition explaining everything Stephen had told her. How he'd said he was divorced, how he'd said his ex-wife was unstable, how he'd asked her to keep their relationship quiet for now because his ex was harassing him and he didn't want Barbara dragged into the drama. She cried through most of it, said she felt like an idiot, said if she'd known she never would have gotten involved. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. The preliminary hearing was 4 weeks after my arrest. I was 16 weeks pregnant by then, starting to show. I wore a loose dress and sat in the back of the courtroom while Stephen's lawyer argued that the recording was inadmissible, that the search warrant was improper, that his client was innocent of all charges. The judge disagreed, set a trial date for 6 months out, set bail at $100,000, which Stephen's parents couldn't afford. He stayed in jail. Emily made bail, went right back to her desk at Millbrook Family Medicine until the state medical board suspended her pending investigation. I went back to work. Back to tracking inventory. Back to noticing when numbers didn't match. When things were missing that should be there. Tom pulled me aside 2 weeks after the arrest. I heard what happened. The whole warehouse heard. I know. I'm sorry for the drama. Don't apologize. What I want to know is, are you okay? Is the baby okay? We're okay. Dr. Carter says the baby is back on track, growing normally. Good. That's good. He hesitated. Look, I know this is weird, but I want you to know something. You're one of the best coordinators we've ever had. You notice details other people miss. You ask questions when something doesn't add up. That skill set? It saved your life. He was right. My career had saved me, because I'd spent years learning to track things, to notice patterns, to trust my own observations even when other people said I was wrong. If I'd been anyone else, I might have doubted myself, might have believed Stephen when he said I was paranoid, might have drunk one more smoothie and lost my baby forever. But I was an inventory coordinator, and I'd noticed the missing $14,600, and I'd tracked it, and I'd documented everything. And I'd built a case that not even Stephen's expensive lawyer could dismiss. 6 months later, Stephen took a plea deal. 27 months in prison, 3 years probation, permanent restraining order, no contact with me or the baby, ever. Emily took a different deal. 18 months, 2 years probation, permanent loss of medical credentials, no more working in healthcare, no more access to medications, no more coaching her son on how to commit crimes. Barbara Gray had her baby in December, a boy. She named him James. She sends me Christmas cards now, apologizes every time, says she prays for me. I don't respond. Not because I'm angry, just because I need my life to be mine again. I had my baby in February, a girl, 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect fingers, perfect toes, perfect everything. I named her Elena. After my father's mother. After a woman who survived wars and famines and came to America with nothing but determination and hope. Elena and I live in a different house now. Smaller, cheaper, but ours. Just ours. The court forced the sale of the marital home, and I used my half to buy this little two-bedroom with a fenced backyard and morning sun in the kitchen. I'm still an inventory coordinator, still tracking numbers, still noticing when things don't match. But now I also notice when my daughter smiles at a ceiling fan, when she grabs my finger with her whole fist, when she falls asleep on my chest and her breathing syncs with mine. My father never got to meet her, but I think he'd be proud. I protected what he left me. I protected myself. I protected the life growing inside me when everyone else said I was crazy for questioning reality. Detective Gonzalez comes by sometimes, brings groceries, checks on Elena. She told me last month that my case is used in training now. New detectives learn about it in domestic violence modules. About how poisoning doesn't always look like poison. About how some abuse comes in smoothie form with a smile and a kiss on the forehead. If you're watching this and someone in your life makes you question your own sanity, makes you feel like you're overreacting or being paranoid or imagining things, I need you to understand something. Trust your gut. Your body knows when something's wrong. Your instincts exist for a reason. I could have drunk one more smoothie, could have believed Stephen one more time, could have been practical and quiet and obedient like he wanted. But I noticed. I tracked. I documented. I asked questions. And those skills saved my life. If you've ever had to choose between being polite and being safe, type, "I chose safety" in the comments. Or if you're still trying to find the courage to leave a situation that doesn't feel right, type, "I'm working on it." Both are valid. Both are brave. Both matter. If this story meant something to you, check the description for more stories just like this one. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing that women aren't crazy when they say something's wrong.